Hi, Ray here. It's great to see you. I pre-ordered the newly released Aputure Amaran 100D light back in January. Stock arrived at the retailer in mid-February, and it has finally arrived via Canada Post, who apparently move packages by a fleet of sleepy snails. In this video, I'll set it up and show you in practical terms how it looks and how it functions. First, this isn't going to be an exhaustive technical video. Other channels have done that before me, and they've published comprehensive reviews of the light over the last month. But I will go over the most salient features and specs, and then we'll take a look at what it actually looks like in use. And compared to this light, the Godox SL60. My previous experience with aperture lights has been in fact the Amaran HS28W daylight LED panel. And it's been pretty tough. In fact, I knocked it over the first day I owned it, and it still works. The equivalent today, I think, would be the HR672W. Anyway, there are 4 versions of these new Amaran chip-on-board LED lights. The 100D and a 200D. As you'd expect, the 100D boasts 100 watts of power and the 200 is rated at 200 watts. There are also bicolor X models for both the 100 and 200 lights with 2700 to 6500 Kelvin color temperature. However, you do sacrifice a bit of brightness for adjustable color. The 100X, for instance, puts out 3700 lux compared to the 100D's 4300 lux. The 100D output is equivalent to a 750 watt tungsten light, the 100X to a 400 watt. Most importantly, the lights boast a 95 plus out of 100 on the television lighting consistency index. CRI is 95. Independent testing seems to back this up, and I'm looking forward to less color correction issues, especially for skin tones. Fingers crossed. The 100D daylight version is rated at 5600 Kelvin. It weighs 3.4 kilograms or 7 pounds. I'll put more detailed specs up here for those who want to get into the nitty-gritty. But let's get this thing out of the box. We've got a little bit of paper, and here's the light itself. Right there, and here's the reflector. This is called the hyper reflector, I think. Let me just get this stuff out of the box. There's not much else here. Here's the AC power cable. I presume there's another part to it here. So there we have it. Nothing else in the box. I guess the first thing you notice is that it doesn't come with a carrying bag. So I guess that's what you would expect for a light of this cost. And so the 100D retails for $200 US and the 200D for $300 US. For me, with exchange and taxes, shipping was free from VisTech. That means the 100D set me back about $325 Canadian. Again, all you get with it really is the power cord, no battery power, and the reflector. Other reviews have mentioned the so-called hyper reflector creates a pretty hot center area with a lot of fall off. Aputure has responded saying that they are offering the older reflector, that's available. I'm guessing like the one that comes with the LS120D. My contact at VisTech haven't heard of this, and they didn't have another reflector to offer. So I presume Aputure is talking about it as an add-on to buy. It's not a deal breaker for me. I have other Bowens mount reflectors, and the only time I use them is usually when I'm going to fit a snoot or a grid. The rest of the time I'll be using some kind of modifier like the beauty dish or parabolic softbox that I own. Here I should mention that these Amarans also feature a built-in umbrella holder. Now that's great. It's not exclusive to these lights, but it's nice to see it included. The casing, as you might expect, is plastic. Unlike at least one reviewer, I don't think that this looks flimsy in any way. I think it should hold up quite well. I don't intend to be throwing it around. I don't see that it would be subject to failure under normal use. I mean, if you bash a light hard enough to crack the housing, you'd likely have some other things to worry about. So it seems plenty tough to me. And I think it's pretty attractive to my eye. There is a single light control knob on this version. The 200X would have one for color as well. Turning it controls the brightness, and if you push it in, it changes the light by 10% increments. The light is Bowden's mount, of course. There's a little release here. It has an XLR plug at the back here for the AC power. Power brick has this wire here to hang on your light stand, but it seems to me that that might shorten up the amount of cable that you have to use there. So I don't know that I would use that. Okay, so well, just give me a little bit of time now and I'll come back with this setup so that we can do a comparison. Here we are, back with the 100D, housed in the same modifier, a Strobe Pro 32-inch rapid beauty dish. Same plastic reflector on this side. Background lighting and post-production, grading, etc. will be the same. That is minimal. I'm shooting with a Nikon Z6, internal 8-bit using the flat profile. I have left this light at 100%. I'm sure it's going to be much brighter. Does it make me look any more attractive? Okay, well, maybe return the beauty dish. The first thing you notice when you turn the light on is the fan noise. That is the absence of noise because, relatively speaking, it's quiet as a mouse. That's, I think, going to save me a lot of work in audio post-production because the fan on the light I've been using for the key in the last year or so, the even more affordable Godox SL60, which we've mentioned, really makes a lot of noise. More so than the car that just went by. Anyway, here's what it sounds like before noise reduction. The SL60, that is. For comparison, here's the sound of the wind on Mars without noise reduction. And with noise reduction. They need to work on those perseverance fans, I'd say. There has been some discussion, seriously speaking, from reputable sources, and I've heard their recordings, that the 200W is not quite so quiet, and that the sound that it makes, the fan makes on it, is inconsistent, so it's hard to deal with. Aputure have responded with a firmware update to address the problem, and depending on who you listen to, they've either fixed that or they haven't. Someone else mentioned the rear LCD, how it is hard to see at times, and I'd agree. Readout just sort of disappears at certain angles. Thankfully, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that these lights can be controlled via the Sidus Link app. No more remote like earlier Aputure lights, and Amarans won't work with the controls from other Aputure lights. But I have to say the convenience of controlling the light from my iPhone is just great. Now I have everything from my teleprompter to these lights in one place, right here on my phone. The app is pretty straightforward to set up after I watched a YouTube video tutorial, and it has a fairly intuitive UI. You can, of course, control the brightness of your lights, as well as the effects that come with the 100 and 200D, as well as the X version lights. We get paparazzi, fireworks, lightning, faulty bulb, TV, pulse, strobe, and explosion. From my initial usage, I'm pretty impressed with both the power of the little budget-friendly light to something about the quality of the light from its COB LED. It looks, dare I say, cinematic. Aputure have definitely responded to the needs of small creators like myself. I'll see how things go, but I'm already seeing at least one more of these in my studio. And I think they'd be fine on location as well, as long as you didn't throw them around. And really, who does that? In that case, I'm interested in the soon-to-be released 2-bay battery power station that would turn these into a great lightweight and affordable location lighting option. Here's hoping the power station will be as competitively priced as the Amaran lights themselves. I've seen some pre-release prices online of around $225 US. Now, are these speculative or reflecting the price at release? I really don't know. Of course, you'd have the cost of the V-mount or gold mount batteries as well. But anyway, summing up, my initial assessment is that these are excellent little lights, perfectly aimed at creators like me, YouTubers and aspiring filmmakers, and the price is affordable. Kudos to Aputure. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss new content. Not to forget, there's more of these reviews and tutorials here. Cheers. Take care of yourself. We'll see you later.